Dear Hector, as you know, in the old days when every gentleman went on the grand tour of Europe, it always ended at Mount Vesuvius. Then they discovered Sicily. So, after they'd nourished their minds with the classics, they would gaily set forth for this, the biggest island in the Mediterranean, for a bit of sun, fresh air, sand and sea. So, Hector, crossing Sicily, despite the obstacles, is fun. You either go by the coast road or take the longer but more picturesque route over the mountains. My first port of call was Marsala, situated on the west coast. It was here, at Marsala, where Garibaldi first landed on his campaign to unify Italy. And you know that during World War II, the Allies bombed the place believing that General Rommel was enjoying a jolly at the local winery. The town got flattened, the winery destroyed, and yet Rommel was nowhere to be seen. Happily, the town was rebuilt, and so was this famous winery. Buongiorno.
Buongiorno.
The tasting bit. This is the bit I like most. I asked the man through my translator, James, jolly good translator, anybody who wants a good translator, he's very good at it, what is the best time to drink this stuff? And he said 10 to 11, so it is 10 to 11. What I actually meant was, you know, what time and length of years and things like that. Anyway, it's 10 to 11, and it's the Marsala tasting sketch. It's excellent. Actually, we don't drink so much Marsala in Britain these days, but it is another British invention along with Madeira, along with sherry. We have contributed to the alcoholic culture of the world. It's basically made from 3 different types of white grape, fortified with grape juice and brandy, and it's lovely. Thank you. Cheers. Marsala makes the most fabulous little pudding, or even indeed a pick-me-up, called zabaione. In the 60s, when Italy ruled gastronomic Britain, because all the good restaurants were Italian in the 60s in those days, zabaione was a definite part of every meal. It's very, very simple. Into a bowl, you chuck some sugar, and the bowl is sitting on some warm water. It's about 4 ounces of sugar, I guess. Then you throw in, well, I'm going to throw in 6 egg yolks, like that. Then with my trusty whisk, I'm going to whisk those together, together, together. And at the same time, this is a chewing and walking gum at the same time thing. Chuck in some masala. Splash the cameraman. And we whisk and we whisk and we whisk and we whisk. And when we get a bit bored with that, we take it out here. And back over the heat. Right. The perfect pick-me-up, and by Jove do I need this. We had a late one last night, a serious late one. The director took us, or the producer took us all out for a really slap-up meal. We've had a few problems on this shoot. Basically, we've been under budget all the way. And as you know, with filmmaking, if you don't spend it all, you can't get any more for the next one. So he took us out for an enormous, wonderful dinner. We had lobster, caviar, champagne, and the finest Italian brandy afterwards. And that's why I actually need this little zabaione. You can always dip a nice little biscuit into it if you want to as well. Heaven in a glass. Well, I've been in Italy quite some time now, and there's one thing we haven't yet done, but it is inevitable, we have to do it. And if we're going to do it, we're going to do it properly. There's a lot more to a pizza than just walking down your high street, dodging into the doorway, queuing up, and getting one of those cubicle boxes with the thing inside. It is a very involved and specific process. And if you come close down here, Dennis, you start off with a kilo of plain flour mixed with about 100 grams of fine Durham wheat flour. And you mix it all together. I've never done this before, and all the cooks are standing by watching. You put in about 20 grams of sea salt into that, and you mix it around with your hands, and you mix all that salt in, and then you make a little volcano in the middle. Then you have about 10 grams of yeast softened in warm water, and just over to your right, Dennis, there is some yeast, this moist yeast, about that much, that's about 10 grams, softened in water. You pour a little bit into the middle there to start with, perhaps like that. And you make little sand castles. This is mud pie making process. So you mix it well, adding water little by little as you go until you get a nice workable dough. Then the harder work starts. You knead it and knead it for at least 10 to 15 minutes until you have a wonderful workable round ball of dough. And that, actually, is about right. That rests for half an hour.
Lungo, così dalla chiedere. Il lungo.
Long.
Il lungo.
Then you roll it out and put on it whatever toppings you fancy. On pizzas, you can put anything. My preferred pizzas are tomato, anchovies and mozzarella, but I'm not allowed to do that here. So we're going to have onions, mushrooms, bits of salami, like so, like that. Some oregano all over the whole thing, some parsley over the whole thing, some mozzarella, lots and lots. I love lots and lots of cheese. So lots of mozzarella on top of that. Lots of Parmigiano on top of that as well, to make it absolutely outstanding. The secret ingredient X. A little bit of lovely... The supreme olive oil. All right. Right, hold the ladder steady, James, because it's going in. And how far does it go in? And then slip it off the end? Hold on, watch this. It's only been in there about 3 to 4 minutes, would mark 110. You have to flip it around from time to time, and when it's ready, you put your spatula underneath and you lift it out.
Okay. Bravo.
There. Sicilia on a plate. Pizza Floyd, grass of this wonderful establishment. Walk down any street in Italy and you'll pass the most fabulous ice cream bar, which is a very silly thing to do. What a treat. Italian ice creams are unquestionably the best in the world. And if I could spend a couple of hours here demolishing this wonderful mélange, that would be happiness, happiness, happiness in spades. And as for the cakes... For me, the enjoyment on these gastronomic journeys is to be able to get off the beaten track when I want to. And a brief run up into the mountains anywhere in Sicily will reveal fascinating little towns with narrow streets and closely knit communities. To the west of Trapani lie the Egadi Islands. My destination is Favignana, which is the largest of the three. Surviving on fishing, the islands are unspoilt by tourism, and the islanders are open and a welcoming bunch. Sicilian food has been influenced a lot by the North Africans, and one of the most famous dishes here is couscous with fish. Absolutely fabulous. The very first thing you have to do is to make a rich fish soup. Now to do this is it here with all its lovely vegetables and things in it. To do this, you chop up some onions, some tomatoes, some celery and some garlic and fry it lovingly, lots and lots of tomatoes, frying it lovingly in olive oil, a little bit of salt and pepper. You have a rich, mungy-gungy mess at the bottom of your pan. Then you add some bay leaf and some parsley, and over to your left, a bit of fennel. Back up to me, please, Dennis. You pop all that in and then put some water in and let it simmer away for about 30 minutes or so. Right, the next thing you do, you get a selection of fish and we pop them into the soup. They're already taken their tummies out, but their heads and everything else stay on. So we'll put 3 or 4 of those in, just gently into there, and let them simmer away for about 15, 20 minutes until they're totally soft. The fish should be very well cooked. In fact, they're so cooked they're totally disintegrated, which is exactly what we want. Now, the object here is you crunch as much of these vegetables and fish as you possibly can into the soup underneath. Okay? So there's our splendid fish soup with all the little bits of fish and vegetable that could get through the mesh. Okay, that's all done. Now, the next most important part is the couscous. Now, couscous, which is down here, already cooked, there is splendid stuff. For the garnish of the whole thing, we've got some lovely little clams. They go into a preheated pot with olive oil, like that. The lid goes on, and they will open up in their own time in a few moments. Now, we have something else to make this thing exotic over here, please, Dennis, because this is a 2-kitchen sequence. Over here, I've got some splendid prawns and green peppers marinated in olive oil and paprika. I now need to squeeze some lemon juice on it. As I've said before, the Sicilian lemons are absolutely wonderful. I know they're meant to be sour things, but these are actually slightly sweet. And they're quite the best lemons I've ever tasted in my life. Now then, this goes on down here onto my charcoal grill. Great, that's the prawns. Now then, the clams. Absolutely perfect. They've opened up beautifully. Okay. Bring the prawns up, which are beautifully done. Just put prawns onto the couscous. There and there. These damn things are very hot. Another motorboat just started up. Now, bravery here in the face of the enemy. I've given my liver for my art, and I'm now giving my limbs for my art. That's if you call it art, and there are many that don't. Clams on the top. Ay, ay, ay. Then, with our lovely fish soup, we just moisten the couscous. And there, loving fat close up, unless you're watching boats, that is, Dennis, maybe you are, is my couscous Siciliana, Floyd style. Favignana is perhaps more famous for its tuna fishing. It is a time-honoured method whereby the fishermen use these huge boats to form a series of chambers with their nets into which the fish are shepherded. Finally, when there is sufficient fish, the net is closed and they haul the tuna out. Island hopping is great fun, so I'm off to another one, Marittimo. Today is a very special one for this island. It's the festival of St. Joseph. Though now a Christian saint's day, the festival dates back to pagan times. It's a popular celebration throughout Italy. The festivities receive various interpretations, but basically it revolves around Joseph, Mary, children, and the giving of food. And it's great fun, a great ritual. Not surprisingly, the whole town joins in, leaving the rest of the place completely deserted. Listen, while the Italians are celebrating the very, very important festival of San Joseph here in the early spring, you know, Joseph and Mary and all the rest of it, fabulous stuff, I want to celebrate another equally important event, the celebration of the first spring peas, pisili, as they are called in Italy. And this is a terribly simple dish. It's going to be just chicken and ham and carrots and peas and milk and things like that. So without any further ado, we'll go straight into the dish. And the first thing we're going to do, and the band is playing, and it's great, it's a great festival day, it's a holiday day, everybody's dressed in their Sunday best, even me. The first thing we're going to do, some little bits of raw ham, prosciutto and carrots into there. Then I'm going to add some butter. This is excellent stuff. Look at that, and there's Mary and Joseph. Dennis, you ought to just check that one out. That's magnificent, isn't it? Anyway, back on the pot, old bean, back on the pot. Now we add some lovely spring onions as well. This is what, Dennis, back up to me just for a second. This is what makes Italy so enjoyable. Everybody joins into everything. Food, festivals, eating, drinking, fishing. Italy is fun. Anyway, back on the pot. Now, the next thing is we put in our little strips of chicken. You could, of course, if you want to, you could use veal, you could use turkey, but little strips of chicken are absolutely fine. In they go, just cooked very quickly in the butter and the olive oil. Because now we have to add a little bit of splendid white Italian wine. Now we let that simmer away until the wine has evaporated. Okay, Dennis, this wine has nearly evaporated by now. So we take the pieces of chicken out and we keep them warm. Now, obviously, you know I'm fibbing. Back up to me, Dennis. You know this chicken isn't being kept warm because it's in a cold, fresh air situation. But if you were making this at home, you just put it above your oven or above the grill so it does stay warm. The point is, because there's another cooking sequence to go, I don't want this chicken to boil to death. It's just lightly cooked, as long as you've got that, okay? Now, the star of this particular show are the peas, the piselli. And then a wonderful glass of milk. And finally, oregano goes in. So now the lid goes on, the beet goes on, and that cooks away for about 50 minutes. Ah, excellent. So, 15 minutes, that's all. The peas are cooked, the ham, the milk, the lids fall on the floor, but that's all beautiful. Let's have a loving close-up of that just so we can see where we're going. Beautiful peas, piselli with ham, carrots, oregano, a little bit of white wine and stuff. Now, the final thing is, Dennis, we add our little bits of chicken, like that. We pass that to an assistant, which is over there. And then we tip it onto the plate and ask the good citizens, what's the name of this town? Marettimo. Okay. Piselli Marettimo. There. A loving close-up. And there you have my contribution to the festival. So that's that. Arrivederci Marettimo. Arrivederci Sicily. And thank you Italy. We'll be back.